In this module, we're going to take a look at the first E of modern work culture, evolution. The two biggest forces transforming the workplace today are inevitably technology and people. For the first time ever in history, the workforce is home to 5 different generations. Breaking those generations down, we can see that the builders, aka the silent generation, are occupying a small 2% of the workforce. Boomers are still occupying a quarter. Gen X is at 33. Millennials, the biggest group, is at 35, and Gen Z is now at 5%. And if we take a look at the distribution of the generations over the next 20 years, the changes continue to remain pretty drastic. One could argue that that's a lot of cooks to have in the kitchen at the same time. What could possibly go wrong? Well, today's age-diverse workforce is portrayed rather negatively in the media, often cited as a source of tension, conflict, and even hate among the different generations at work. Even 2 out of 3 HR managers report having witnessed generational conflict within their own organization. But when we stop and think about it, how deep and real are these generational differences at work? Are they being overhyped, over-sensationalized? Recent studies show that these differences might not go as deep as we've been conditioned to think. Harvard recently did a very thorough analysis on this. They studied over 20,000 participants across 20 different countries, and the results revealed very small and inconsistent differences in workplace behavior and attitude among the different generations. But the researchers still wanted to go a little bit deeper, so they started looking at the meta-stereotypes that exist within the workplace today. Age meta-stereotypes look at what people think others believe about them based on their age. So millennials might assume that their colleagues see them as narcissistic or generally lazy, whereas boomers might fear that their peers see them as boring, stubborn, maybe even digitally challenged. So the dangers of these meta-stereotypes can lead to biased training, poor communication, strained relationships, and weakened collaboration between employees. The researchers also found that when trainers were instructed to teach an older person a computer-related task, they actually had lower expectations and provided worse training than if they were teaching someone younger. It's not necessarily the differences in age that we need to be mindful of in the workplace. It's the meta-stereotypes and assumptions that we're making about the people we work with. Another huge change in the workplace today is the desire to move away from the 9-to-5 work week. There now exists what I like to call a flexpectation among modern workers. And this is the desire to be able to choose when and where you're getting your work done. And this is important. Bill Gates sees flexibility as the #1 thing you can offer employees if you want to attract and retain top talent. Companies that are failing to do this are starting to lose their employees to the gig economy. In fact, more than 1 in 3 workers in the US today are freelancing. The gig economy is no longer an alternative market. It's officially going mainstream. People are joining the gig economy for a variety of reasons. One being financial. They want to make more money and have more control over their financial lives. Others simply want more flexibility that aligns to a modern lifestyle. But it's not just individuals who benefit from the gig economy. There can be huge gains for employers as well. Currently, 30% of Fortune 500 companies use services like Upwork to fill temporary positions and projects. And 57% of businesses in general are saving costs on everything from training to healthcare benefits by embracing free agent talent. By adding gig workers to your own organization, you can look forward to increased agility, quicker access to expertise. You can save money, and studies even show that gig workers tend to be more engaged with the work they're doing. But the story doesn't end there. Even employees who are working those 9-to-5 jobs are still looking for more flexibility in their schedules today. A few years ago, large organizations like IBM, Yahoo, Best Buy, and Aetna responded to this demand by officially allowing their employees to work from home. And this was a big deal. Not many companies had done this before. Now, these companies were looking forward to increased morale and increased productivity among their employees. But they actually started to run into a long list of issues. And as of recently, they actually reverted back to their in-office policies. So what happened? Simply put, employees had no idea how to manage their time when working alone at home, and managers were struggling to lead a team of remote workers. But that flexpectation still exists, and it's only growing stronger among younger employees. So, how do you make this work for you and your team? The first step is to actually implement a telecommuting policy. This policy might include dedicated days where employees need to be in the office versus when they can choose to work at home. You might consider offering productivity training for your employees working remotely, and by embracing gig workers on your own team, you can help normalize this phenomenon. In the Insight Flex workplace, we're seeing a variety of tools and platforms now available, both for employers with gig workers and for remote workers to use to help stay more productive and organized. So when we think about the future of work and evolution, you're going to continue to see age-diverse teams, and this is something you should embrace. Teams will also be a blend of both gig and full-time workers, and flexibility needs to be formalized if you're going to retain and attract that top talent. Some questions to consider and apply to your own team. What generational stereotypes are influencing your interactions with your colleagues, with your direct reports, and with your managers? And how could your team or project benefit from a gig or part-time worker with different expertise? I'll see you at the next module.